All right, we are live. A little bit of a surprise this Tuesday morning. For some reason, it's saying I'm supposed to start at 10:30, but we're starting now at 9:30, like always. So, yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning, and glad you can be here, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. My name is Paula Hopwood, and my beautiful, beautiful friend is Loree Cowling. And we are here every Tuesday morning to talk about whatever.
Just whatever lights us up today.
We encourage you to put comments in and participate with us. And I guess I'll start off. I'll introduce myself for those that don't know me. And then, Loree, I'll get you to introduce yourself. So,
sure.
I am, some people know me as Paula the Great, and
oh my gosh,
I am a great mystery. Oh my goodness. I am here to experience love and peace and joy and just experience life. And I am a soul on this journey that is just fully expressing and loving every minute of it. And what I do in the world is I help others to do the same, is to leave behind what the world has taught them, to embrace their truth and to find out what that truth is within them, to strip away all that's been stopping them. And I love what I do, both personally, spiritually, professionally, everything with my friends. And that's why this whole thing started with Loree and I, is because we're friends and we just wanted to share insights and share conversations to grow ourselves. And we're glad you could be here today. Loree, why don't you introduce yourself too?
Sure. So I don't know how to follow Paula the Great.
I'll be honest, it did start off as Paula the Great Pain in My Ass, but
it's all about how we adjust. It's all about
right. It's what I adapted. I dropped all the rest of it and kept Paula the Great.
Right? It's what I call building your evidence, right? What are we building the evidence of? Yeah. Well, easy enough. I am Loree Cowling, and like Paula said, we've been friends, and these reasons that we started these calls was because we felt the need to be in connection. And I think truthfully, that's the thing that I do the most is I sit in the awareness of who I am, and I, love other people in the awareness of who they are. And my thing is connection, is being able to support other people to know that they're infinitely qualified to be themselves exactly as they are. And in that, it allows them to connect with the people in their lives, their families, their employees, their employers, their community. And it allows them to start then to connect into this consciousness that we talk about all the time, that puts you in a place of, just knowing the essence of you is pure and real, exactly as it is. So that's what I love to do right now. My focus for the last, I want to say year, probably since the beginning of 2020, honestly, has been in the conversation. Mm-hmm. So whenever I can, in whatever way, whether it's like this or my daughter and I have done over 50 ICU videos on Facebook Lives over the last 6 months. Or it's, conversations at different events like the one we just did last week, Soulful Awakening Festival. Mm-hmm. It's really, my focus has been in the connection and conversation and allowing us to explore who we are more. So coming into, I always think September, honestly, is the new year. For me, I don't know what it is, but September is my time of year that resonates with my soul and my body. And it's when I find everything shifts for me and I feel the balance. I feel the balance of the fall equinox, and I feel the balance of the coolness in the morning and the warmth in the afternoon and the, light of the moon. And so coming into this new year for me, I really know that I'm going to be shifting that conversation into a bigger way of connecting with people in groups and just supporting them to see themselves Like is what we're doing, right? Like you said, helping them move through what used to hold them and identifying beliefs and building your evidence. And yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. It brings up a good point for me. As you were talking about 2020, this is such a different year. Personally, I'm just trying to survive it,
Right.
Yeah.
Every new week is like seriously something so new. You're like, I got nothing.
Yeah. Oh, so that's happening. Okay.
Okay. They were doing that shit. Okay.
I love what April says. She says, I feel it's a restart for me and I've been called to adapt to my environment. And isn't that the truth? Hey, right? Oh my gosh, April, you put it so good. Because everything's changing all the time, right? And things change. And if we try and fight it, then all we are is in fighting energy, right? And so to go with it and find that path of peace, love, and joy and experience it, right? And experience it to the fullest on a positive way. And that's, I may joke around about 2020 and stuff, but I am so honored to be here on Earth at this time in our evolution because, oh my gosh, everything's changing. Like timelines are jumping like crazy. And it's just amazing. What an amazing time.
Can you talk a bit more about timelines? Because I agree. Like I am seeing it even in conversations. I have these beautiful, incredible conversations every day with the wonderful woman that helps Sydney, my daughter, who some of you will see and not see. She'll pop in and out of these calls. And every day we have these incredible conversations and we'll be talking about something. And then all of a sudden, everything shifts into something else. And I have this awareness that was ignited within that conversation. And then all of a sudden we're talking about the same thing, but in just this new level of love. And to me, that's what the difference in the timelines and the dimensions are, is it's a different conscious conversation that you're having awareness. But yeah, so every day I get to do that. It's so, well, every Monday and Tuesday, and it just totally is so fun. But can you talk a bit about timelines and what that means? Because I don't know that everybody understands it and like we do.
Yeah. So it used to be, so I've been a reader for years and I was a closet reader at first, and then I came out to public and did readings at trade shows and stuff. And it used to be that I would see, like, I don't know, let's say you had like 5 different timelines on you. There are ways that you could go, right? Things that could happen, different choices you make. Now, almost always the timeline always ends up at the same place. It's just whatever path you choose, right? So like, that drawing that, to get from point A to point B is a straight line. Well, it could be to get from point A to point B, you're over here, you're over there, you're over there, you do a somersault, maybe fall down in the ditch, get back up, and you keep going. Timelines are different ways to go, right? I believe that they always end up at the same result, though, because our divine truth is our divine truth. And humans are going through an evolution and an awareness and awakening right now. So we are going along on different timelines to get to the same place, which is love. We're going to be coming from a place of love and not one of fear, hate, or anger, anything like that. We are evolving, and some of us are going to go a certain way. Some of us are going to go another way. So when I say timelines, you can think of it as like different realms, like parallel universes almost. There are times when you wake up, like yesterday, you knew for sure you were going to get the red Toyota, right? Oh my gosh, you've planned this for months. You're going to get the red Toyota and you're in love with the red Toyota. Oh, you've done all your research and contacts and everything. You wake up one morning and you think, that's weird because I'm going to get the blue Audi, Yeah. And you just know you're going to get the blue Audi. And that's totally okay. And you're like, what happened? And so that's a real simple way of explaining how the timelines can shift, is that all of a sudden you find yourself instead of being on that straight line from A to B, you find yourself over on a different way. But eventually you're going to get there, because really, using that example, at the end of the journey, what you're getting is a really good vehicle, right? A good, dependable vehicle that's going to get you there, and stuff. And so it's timelines are all about getting us where we need to get, right? They're all about just pathways that we choose to take. We have free will. And so if we want to fight that free will, we can. Divine's always going to bring us back around, so it's always going to come back around, because it is our journey. It is our path. And so, sometimes timelines shift so fast and quickly, and it's just a matter of flowing with them and allowing it all to take place to help us to rise higher. I know there's been times when I tried to fight it and it didn't go so well. It just.
No, I got this. I'm okay.
I know better.
What the hell?
Yeah.
You're like,
I know better than that divine path in me that I signed up for, that I placed, this wisdom within me. That's what's leading us, right? Have you ever noticed that, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. And you hear it in your soul, you hear it in your mind, whatever it is. It's like, when you were like before, I don't even know how to describe like before, but there's that place for people where, you were taught that you make this focused goal, and I'm going to set out the exact steps to get there. And you're on this thing. And that's what I call before. So anyways, because that doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah, I totally get what you were saying. It's like, exactly the thing you're supposed to do. You feel it in your soul, even if it's as simple as, I've wanted to start doing meditations in the morning. And I hear the message everywhere. I hear it, like my friends are doing it. People that feel really successful in their own lives, whatever that looks like. They always do a devotional in the morning. Whatever that looks like for them, there's a devotional in the morning. But me, for the last months, have been, no, I know that I can just get up and start my day. And I can just not do anything to set my mind or my energy or my being. I know best. And yet you've heard it in every place. You've seen it. You know it in your soul. And then today I had the opportunity to just really sink into that. And I did a beautiful meditation with my daughter. And it's like, oh God, why have I been fighting this? Mm-hmm. Why have I been trying to say, no, I know best? It's like when you were a kid and somebody would say to you, don't go do that. If you do that, don't go do that. And because they said, don't go do that, or because they said to you, do it this way. Mm-hmm. That thing when you're a kid and you're like, now I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to do it my way. It's sometimes like I'm a little kid in this evolution, and I'm still like I'm in kindergarten, and I'm stomping my feet going, I'm going to do it my way. And what I haven't realized is it's all my way. Yeah. And it's just the stomping my feet and going against what my soul and heart is vibrating, still my way, just full of more chaos and turmoil. Like, right? What am I going to do? Am I going to, just remember that I'm a beautiful soul and do it my way? Or just stomp my feet and go, I don't want to grow. I don't want to. It's too much. And I think that's what happens. Hey, Paula, is like, that's what that is. And we're holding back or not doing what's guided. It's that fear of becoming. Yeah. That's the conditioning, the way that we've been raised to play small, the way that we've been raised in that environment. How do I put it? Well, in that 3D environment, that we're leaving behind, where we have to be little, where we have to be afraid, where, we're getting messages daily, bombarded with them, family, friends, whatever, media,
that we're just not good enough. Look at the models and stuff on the magazines, how they're airbrushed. They're not even who they are either, right? And that sends us a message that we need to be like that, right? And so we've gotten lots of messages throughout our lifetime of we just can't be ourselves. We shouldn't be ourselves. We need to be a certain way, right? This is what I call programming and conditioning. And so right now in 2020 and leading up to 2020, but 2020 is a big year for this.
Yeah.
There's so much going on, energy supporting. I mean, even right now, we got this massive full moon happening for us today.
So good. So good.
No, but we've got full moons, we've got eclipses, we've got, and we've had that stuff before, but the energy is amped right now. It's amped right up with Schumann resonance, and our souls are saying no more, right? And so timelines are shifting like crazy for us because we are evolving and we're leaving all that conditioning behind. And yes, sometimes we need help with that, and that's great, and that's fine. I mean, I know I've had help, right? And I help others, but the thing is it's just happening like this. And he's been on this program before, David, one of my friends and mentors. He says that what used to take him, like 2 days to teach somebody now takes him 2 hours, right? People are just becoming aware of, even if they're not really conscious of it, they're becoming aware of their soul's magnificence and abilities. And it's happening. Right? Whether we want it to happen or not, it's happening. So, So I just got distracted. Tell us the timeline jumping you're noticing. Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna put that on the stream so people can see it.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, shift.
I love what you just said, how David talks about that. And I remember talking about it over the last 5 or 6 years, right? That the things that we were teaching, the things that we were sharing, we're noticing how much more quickly people were accessing them. And I always believe that it's because that thing of what is it? Critical mass. When you have so many people believing in something, it makes it easier for other people to believe in it. And I think right now it's so beautiful to see so many people quickly coming into who they are, because there's a lot of people right now who are so confused and struggling with the quickness of it. Are still, they see how quickly you go from the red Toyota to the blue Audi. But it confuses them because they're still in that space of, but I have to achieve all these things to get there.
Yeah.
And, they're still punishing themselves because they didn't get the red Toyota.
Yeah. They built their life around that.
Right. And so it's so lovely that more people are in these conversations like we're in. I'm in conversations with people right now who are in that space of really not knowing. I think that's why there's still such wobble going on in our world.
You know what? Bye, Mommy.
Bye, love. Have a great day.
Bye, Sydney.
Yeah. Paula says bye.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. True.
Yep, true. Right. There's just, it's so great to have people in these conversations more and more and more, because I feel like there's this beacon, we hold this beacon. Oh, yeah. I was just watching on the iPad, and I saw Sydney come in on the iPad, and I was like, what is happening? Because there's that delay. Talk about timelines.
Yeah.
Talk about timelines, right? We're doing this live stream, but on the iPad right in front of me, it's a little delay. Anyways, I want to jump to something else because I feel like that's done. I want to talk about exactly this thing about timelines and something I recognized with you last week. So I don't know if we talked about it last week, but it feels like this is a good spot. So last week you were in Vancouver, right? That was last week.
That was, approximately whenever the timeline was there.
It was some time. And
I
we
loved
were,
your observation on that.
yeah, we were doing this, the Soulful Awakening Festival, and you had recorded your session, and many people recorded it because it was a 3-day event.
Mhm.
And then I was able to do mine like live stream like this with some people in the room. And then I hosted the panel conversation. And at the end, you had recorded the closing ceremonies. And I had this like super hyper awareness of the physical, tangible way that we are managing timelines. And especially now with like video and Zoom and live streaming, right? Like you and I are doing this, but when people watch it, this is going to be the past for us, but it's going to be their present.
Yeah.
And we are creating these things, and it's like this query that we can set out to people in order to start them understanding that there's more than what you think. So here you were in Vancouver, but here you were in that room with us on video doing the closing ceremony. And then here you would be all through the week doing that with people like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when they were watching it.
Yeah.
And it was just this like great way for my mind to get what it means to be in different dimensional timelines at once, and how we can actually be impacting the world this way. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to be doing a Zoom video and be in Vancouver. We can just be doing this. I think I just want to invite people to understand it's happening. It's happening whether you know it or not. But that was just very tangible. Here you are, you recorded your session. Your session might have even been playing when you were doing that incredible march.
Yeah. I actually think it was. I went out on Saturday.
So here you were affecting this timeline of people who needed your soul and your heart and your being in the video. And then here you were on this march affecting this timeline of people in this vibration.
Doing live videos and
Right. It was just like, oh yeah, this is the stuff. This is what's happening.
There's some behind the scenes on this too I'd like to share.
Yes.
First of all, in answer to how I was able to do that was we started off this call realizing that my actual name is Paula the Great, right? So
that's my actual name today.
Do you know, a couple of my friends that are down in the States, Pete and David, they actually have me in their phones as Paula the Great. Pete Minarski,
I adore Pete and David. Oh, like when I met them, they totally changed my whole way of looking at the world.
Yeah. So anyway, some behind the scenes on this. So, first of all, the festival was supposed to be live, right? And I was going to be in Calgary and doing everything live. And then with COVID and everything, and we decided to do it online. Open it up to more people, open it up to more people's timelines too, right? And so I was still going to be there. And next thing I know, my soul started to tell me, record your session. And I thought that was weird because I was going to be doing these ceremonies as well as my session. And then it said, record your ceremonies, right? And I'm like, okay, so I went on my cliff because I felt that's where I was supposed to go. And my daughter came with me and she recorded me. And I just said, what do you want me to do? Right. And I just felt into it. And I really felt I was there with everybody. And I recorded it, like 2 weeks before. Right. And I went in and I knew that, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to bring the mountains. I'm supposed to bring this vortex area of Crow's Nest Pass into this festival. Okay, cool. I live right above these massive falls. Bring this energy in. And I just said what I was supposed to say, did what I was supposed to do, and it was all recorded, right? And it was like I was there live. I felt I was there, yet it was 2 weeks in advance, right? Yeah. And so after I did all that and I recorded my session on Twin Flame Tango, dancing with a divine masculine, divine feminine, and balancing those energies within us. and recorded the ceremonies and stuff. And I sent it away. An opportunity arose for me to go to Vancouver, or the Lower Mainland and Vancouver. And it was for business and personal. And I was like, I actually can do this, you know? And so it was really, really cool, because it was my own healing journey on what I went on, and it wrapped up with some business as well as personal. And so I was able to do it all, you know, to have my energy everywhere. Right. And when you pointed that out to me, I was like, yeah, you know, because basically what I was doing, what I talked about earlier, was to go with the flow of what your soul is saying. Eventually, you're going to get to the same place, whether you fight it or not. So don't fight it, right? Use that divine feminine energy and just flow with it like a river. And so that's what I did. And with ease and grace, everything happened. My own personal journey. You know, I was able to support others in Vancouver as well as back here online. I can't even say in Calgary because it was online. And it was such a beautiful thing. And when you brought that up to me, I was like, wow, that really did all come together, you know, the way that it was supposed to. And yeah, and it's still affecting people in the week after. And even the live videos I did at the march there, I still get comments on them, and people are still being affected by that. And isn't that a beautiful way to have all these timelines all over the place, but still come together, right? Still come together in the same way for love, right? I just thought it was incredible. So that's my background story on that.
I love it. It's just this really cool place of understanding that, I mean, it's just, that's a very tangible way for us to articulate what is happening for everyone. You know, not everybody's out doing videos and doing all these things, but the timeline changes are still happening for everybody. And, you know, this conversation that they had with a person yesterday has created a timeline for that person, right? Has created a new awareness for that person. And then here you are today, and you're having a different kind of conversation about something different. And it's creating an awareness for you and that person. And it's just, you know, trusting and knowing that you are not a linear representation of anything. You are this magnificent, infinite representation of the unique vibrational being that you are. And that vibration is out there connecting with people long after that initial point of awareness, right? Like, I know that when I was a young mom, there was these beautiful young souls in my life. They were, I think they were 10 and 13 at the time. And it was one of the first times I remember saying to myself, I recognized that they wouldn't be in my life forever, because they were actually a family that came into my space in my first marriage. And it's the first time I had said to myself, it's okay. I've ignited something in their hearts. And at whatever time in life, it will matter. And I didn't even realize then what I was saying, but I remember saying it and going, it's okay. They're not meant to stay in your life. It's okay. But you still ignited in them, and they changed you. So, and I know that I believe that with all my being, right? That these moments we have with people create an awareness for you and them that affects how they change the world, right?
I was just thinking too, as I'm surfing through the energy here, I was thinking too of the massive timelines you have shifted on people and beliefs by your soul's agreement way back. I think it was even before you were born, to say yes to being Sydney's mom. Like, I've seen you in action, and her like speaking, and not only online but in person, and the way people shift around that and jump faster through beliefs, through love. Love just opens up, heart chakras open up. And I'm just got chills going up and down me right now. Like the truth bumps are just giving her. And I just tapped into that energy, and I was like, wow, because that's what my soul was showing me, right? Is this goes deeper than just jumping from the red Toyota to the blue Audi, right? Or being in several places. This is timelines opening up our heart, timelines opening up our belief system, timelines opening up our whole chakra system, awakening us, having us be more aware of ourselves and those around us. So wow. Beautiful.
It feels that way right now. And, people that have been watching these calls, like we've been doing them since April, I think, April or May. So we've done a few. And, for people to see even the growth and the shift and the awarenesses in us, the days when we've been like, and it's taken us a while to drop in, and how today and last week, we just are instantly in this place of feeling the love, right? I last weekend, for the first time in a very long time, I hosted a meditation and was able to open up. I used to connect with the energy of the great central sun, and through the Lionsgate energy, and I just have been called again to do that. And so I had two beautiful souls with me, and we sat in my yard and opened up this awareness. And it's so beautiful because when I used to do these meditations, I did them once a week. And I was very called to do it after my accident that I've talked about. And I was like, that's just wacky. No way am I doing that. No way do I have the commitment. No way. And whatever, I just did it because I was so called. And, then there's been this big pause, like several years in between. And again, just this call to do this. And now there is this awareness of, I'm not fighting it. Like you said, right? I used to fight what I was experiencing, that awareness for myself. My brain used to want to do things in my belief systems. Like I had to constantly fight the channeling that was coming through. Yeah. And now I'm not fighting any of it. And there was this beautiful imagery of the beacons that we all are. Yeah. And this beautiful light that we are. And we are meant to shine that light so that others can ignite it in themselves and shine for themselves, right? So when you listen to whatever place you're meant to go, it's less about, the type of car that you're getting, and more about celebrating that you listen to something that your heart called. Right? The things that we end up doing, the places we end up going, the people we end up being in connection with, the jobs that we have, it's less and less about the actual things and more about the opening that happens when you're doing the thing. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Even using the festival and the Vancouver trip as the example, for me, I was opened up in my mission. I had to drop those controls of it had to be a certain way, the Soul Festival, and then when I went out to the coast, I saw 9 of my friends in 7 days and met some new ones. I had massive shifts out there and jumped timelines, like sometimes moment by moment, because I was willing to flow with it. Right. Yeah. So I was willing to flow and not hold myself back. So much so that people felt it afterwards and were contacting me, and because it affected them, and it affected the people that were out there, and it affected, even some of my clients. Right. And so to be willing to do that, and it brings me right back years and years and years ago. I heard that saying from the Dalai Lama that the Western woman will save the world. And at the time I said the awakened Western woman will save the world. And I have shifted that now to actually, no, it's us getting in touch with our feminine energy, and that feminine energy of flow, not fight, right? So the divine feminine energy of flow, where we flow with what we're supposed to have in our life, be in our life, do in our life. We flow with that inner wisdom, instead of, putting our programming, our conditioning, our attachments on it. We remove those attachments, we remove the conditioning, and we just go with the flow, and the most beautiful things happen. And that's the timeline jumping. It's timeline jumping. Oh, there's a new word.
I know our words are starting to disappear, right? We're like, this is what happens when we get together. We're like, I It's gone.
Yeah. Timeline jumping. You heard it here first from the mouth of Paula the Great, you know. But timeline jumping is not happening to us. It's happening for us, right? And just flow with it, with that beautiful divine feminine energy, like a river. Flow with it, because incredibly great things happen. And we may not even be aware of it at first, right? We may, going back to that example of the red Toyota, the blue Audi, we may not even realize that the blue Audi is better for us because it controls, you know, it handles the roads better, or, you know, maybe somebody wants to steal a red Toyota in the future, but they leave your blue Audi alone because it's blue, right? We don't know what's going on, what's the greater plan out there. We just know that if we flow in where we're being called to, incredibly great things happen.
I love the phrase, and you've said it before, and it actually really shifted some things for me a couple of weeks ago, of letting it flow. So, you know, one of the conversations over the years is you learn how to adjust into new beliefs, and you work through your wobbles or your blocks or whatever you want to call them. There's always the conversation of let it go. Mm-hmm. And to me, it always felt harsh. It always felt like, I don't want to let go of the pieces of me. You know, I want to love the pieces of me. And letting it go always felt like you actually can't let it go until you pick it up. You have to pick something up to let it go. And there was all these things with it. I understood the concept of we want to let something move out of our space so something new comes in. But it never resonated until you said, let it flow. Let it flow. It was like, oh, then anything that comes in, whatever experience it is, in whatever wobble or joy, you can let it flow into you, through you, and beyond you. Mm-hmm. And that is like a teaching that just makes so much sense to me. And the difference of letting it go comes with this space of somehow you have to tell yourself that what you've experienced is something that was bad, and you have to let it go.
Yeah.
And
you know, yeah, letting it flow means that you take from it what you need to, or you take from it what it was meant to, and it's a part of you, and that good essence of it is still a part of you, and just letting it flow through you and impart its wisdom and go.
So beautiful. And I really love that. It just really affected me when you started saying it on these calls, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the piece I've been missing in that awareness. And I really like it. So just so you guys know, like Paula and I like learn stuff from each other all the time.
Yeah. It's Loree the Great, and
right. That's me. Today I'm going to do that.
You know, now I've got the song in my head from all the mothers out there are going to know this movie, The Lorax,
yes,
from Dr. Seuss, right? And that song, Let It Grow, Let It Grow. And that song, oh, I got chills running up and down me again, the truth bumps, because that song just speaks to my heart so much, because I see energy. So when I see energy moving through me, maybe it's something I don't like. Maybe it's energy I'm moving out or whatever. But that song really spoke to me of let it grow. So let the goodness grow in me, right? Let what's happening happen. It reminds me, my kids. So I have 4 kids, and 2 are adults and 2 are teenagers. Well, almost, so 15 and almost 13. But the second one, the 24-year-old, he loves to bother the other kids, you know, and hold them down and tickle them and stuff. And he goes, just go with it. Just go with it. Just go with it, you know. And I learn a lot from my kids, and you know, so it's just, we get these messages everywhere, right? I'm sure you're getting lots of messages just go with it, right? Just go with it. Just flow with it. Just flow with it, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. I use a river as an example in working with people, and how the river, it comes and it brings us stuff, but it also takes stuff away, right? When you're downstream, and how you can stand in that river and you can let it flow, let the energies flow through you, and bring you stuff and take away stuff you don't need, and yet you still have the experiences, right? You still have everything you need from the stuff that went downriver, right? It's just the dirt or the whatever, the garbage it's leaving, and you don't need that anymore. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful thing, and that's divine feminine energy of flow, you know, of flowing in that way. And it's beautiful. I love it. As I lean in.
I know. That was the part where we're leaning in. We should call this called leaning in.
It's like I need to get some sort of measuring stick, like a ruler or something between me and my computer on our calls to
good stuff.
Push me back.
Instead of the Schumann resonance, we should have a lean in resonance, right? We'll like measure how close we are, and then we'll tell how high the vibration goes. Well, I want to talk a bit about you know, it definitely fits into what we're talking about. And it's a couple of things. It's that space for people that as they're trying to adjust from what they know and how they've been taught to experience life, some of the things that they can use to support them. For example, I was talking with somebody yesterday, and, you know, such an incredible soul. He has this awareness, you know, you can be in a conversation and I can say something that trips his ego mind or pushes a button, right? And yet he has such awareness that that's happening, and I'll take a breath, and then I'll be like, okay, what's coming from this? And, you know, he was talking about he wants to change some experiences in his life, like I was saying about wanting to meditate every morning. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, okay, I'm just going to cut out these things. I'm going to take out these things, and then I'm going to be okay. And I was like, oh, but when you take those things out of your space, there's a void. There's a void. So what are we going to flow into that void? Mm-hmm. What kind of things are we going to place in there? You know, you remove like scrolling through Facebook aimlessly because it was supporting you to check out from your experience. What are you going to put in there? And so those are the kind of things that I want to talk a little bit about that you do or that I do, or that can tweak people to go, okay, just removing something isn't okay enough, because you actually have a frequency relation to that vibration. Mm-hmm. And your frequency in your body, your being will be, I'm missing something. Mm-hmm. And you'll want to call it back. And this happens to me all the time. So what I do is I put in something else. And I liken it often when I talk to people in it to explain it. When Cindy was little, we knew that she had issues with milk, but she drank a glass of milk every day. And we wanted to switch her to some other kind of milk. I think we chose rice milk at the time. And what we did is, you know, at first we took out like, I don't know, a little bit of milk, and we added in a little bit of rice milk. And then when she got okay with that, we took out more milk and added in more rice milk. And we just kept doing this until the glass went down, down, down in milk and up, up, up in rice milk. So when we're, you know, moving from one frequency to another, I think we need to have some awareness of this. And we really will sometimes torture ourselves that, why can't I change my habits? Why can't I do the things I want to do? Why can't I, you know, get where I'm going? And I think often it's because we dump out the whole glass of milk that's our resonance of who we are, and we don't know what to add in. And then we feel empty. Mm-hmm. We feel empty because we've taken away the things that, for whatever reason, are keeping us filled up. So I want to talk a bit about that and the ways that we can choose different things. So like you and I, this call, I knew in my soul that, you know, once we were in isolation for a while, I knew that things were going to get really wonky in the energy. And I was so happy that I listened and said, hey, Paula, do you want to do this call? Mm-hmm. And I also super loved that you said Tuesday early morning. because I don't enjoy mornings. I typically, and that's when I'm in my stuff. I'm typically start my day in some sort of turmoil. And when you said morning, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. But what I thought to myself was, oh, but Paula, you're so vibrant and alive in the morning, and I want to connect to that. So it's like I gave myself a gift. The two of us gave ourselves this gift of every Tuesday, we know that we're going to be filling up. Every Tuesday, we're going to be in love and feeling each other and enjoying each other. So, and it's guaranteed, like we put it in such a way that we're doing this, right? So then all week, no matter what we're in, and our souls are all like our mind and our ego and our whatever you call it, our chatter is, kicking the poop out of us. It doesn't matter because we know we built in Tuesday, right? So there's different things that you can do to build in. So when you're taking out a bunch of stuff, build in. For me, it's connection. It's connection. I am building out a new plan right now for my daughter and myself as we move forward into September and then the rest of the year. And the top thing on my list is what time of day, what day of the week am I connecting with which person? Right? For example, mornings connecting with you lights my soul. I like to be awake at night. So what do I want to do? Who do I want to connect with at night? I've started doing Facebook Lives like after 10. Our friend Nola, she supports me in my connection with Sydney and my parenting. So, I have built in a certain times of the week I connect with her. For some people, I have a friend, it's activity, right? She's an adventure. She like 2 or 3 times a week, she's hiking or biking, or because she knows that that's going to be the thing that's going to fill up what she's taking out. So there's things. So what kind of things do you do? What do you want to share?
Yeah, you know what? So I've always had a saying that nature abhors a vacuum. I didn't come up with that, and I don't remember where I got it from, but nature abhors a vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a shaman, as somebody who works with energy, I began to notice what I was being led to do, what I've been taught to do is when I go in and I work energetically on somebody and I remove stuff, I always close it back up, heal it, bring it back to full form and that or better, right? And it just has to happen that way. Infuse it with love. Always infuse with love, right? And so, if you think about it, if you don't put love back in, if you don't replace something, I think of growing up, several of my mom's friends were smokers. And when they would quit smoking, all of a sudden they'd gain a lot of weight because instead of smoking, they would eat a lot. And I mean a lot, right? Like they were always having their hands full. And so you always have to replace that thing. As my journey continued, I realized that it came from a certain place within us, in our heart and in our head, as well as other chakras, right? Like the different chakras. And I began to realize that there's actually a seed that's been planted in us, right? That we're tending to in whatever way, form, even if we don't want to tend to it, by not attending to it, we're still attending to it. We're giving it energy, right? Yeah. We can ignore it all we want, but it's still there. And so if we change that seed, then our outcome will change, right? So I began to find different modalities to do that, channel them, go take trainings, stuff like that. So brain repatterning is one that I love to do, is because we have something in our brain, some sort of memory, something that we've held on to, and it comes from a seed of, let's say, fear or judgment or whatever it may be, anger, abandonment, whatever our issues are. For me, it was rejection, right? And so if we can go in there and switch that belief system around that, take out that seed and put love in, And I do that. I actually just made a post about this yesterday about one of my clients, because I love doing what I do, because it raises my vibration too, to help others. And so to take that seed out, so in my case, let's take rejection, and to change my belief system around what happened, what started the rejection, and to replace it with one of love, right? Therefore, from that moment forward, I go forward with the seed of love in my heart and in my brain, and I've repatterned the whole thing. It changes our frequency, like you said. It changes our vibe. It makes us more open, more clear energy, more high vibrational. People today have a hard time believing I ever lived my life, in abuse. That I was being abused, that I was abusive to myself, right? And that's all because of all this work I've done. Now, of course, we seek out mentors, we seek out coaches, we seek out those to help us. And by all means, if people want to do that, we're here. But I'll give you a tool right now, and I've already been talking about it. And it is something that I channeled, and it is so powerful, and it moves things for people. And it's that divine feminine river. It is. Go into that meditation, go into a visualization. Heck, go stand in a river. You don't have to be up above your head. Go stand ankle deep if you want, right? Or imagine yourself standing there, and imagine coming down the river is all this goodness, peace, love, joy, everything that you want. And as it goes through you, as the energy of the river goes through you, it takes out the yuckiness, right? And imagine it leaving. Sometimes I see it as oil slicks or debris that goes out and feeds the fish or fertilizes the grass that's growing alongside the riverbank, and let it go. Let it just flow right through you, and let that stuff go, and you keep the essence of what you were supposed to learn. Meanwhile, the river continues to bring you the goodness, right? Yeah. And when you just get in that spot and you just really feel it, it will shift the energy in you, and it will bring that goodness into you, right? So that's my gift to you, whoever's watching. But
I love it. And I also adore the part where you said, as it flows out of you, it goes and it feeds the fish. Mm-hmm. And, I do this with the breath. We sometimes do it in this call, and I've been doing it a lot on my other lives, is that as you breathe in and you receive that light, and it comes in, as the river flows into you and brings that light and then pushes out the stuff that's the debris. That debris is actually food for the fish. When you breathe out, the carbon dioxide feeds the flowers and the trees and the grass. Mm-hmm. And so it's this interesting thing. As you're saying this, what I'm realizing is when we hold on to it, we are denying the gift of that for the other places that require it. Mm-hmm. When you hold love and you don't breathe it out, you don't share it, you deny the gift of all that you are to somebody else. When I hold my demons, my wounds, when I hold them, I deny the gift of the light of me for somebody else. And I deny that moves on and gets transmuted into beautiful light, right? So even just that place of, as you were saying, the fish, I'm like, to hold on to those things that have caused us wounds actually denies so much in the universe, right? Because I really do feel as we transmute things and we move them from our being and let them flow, they get transmuted by the light. The flow of the river transmutes them into something beautiful for the fish, and it transmutes it into something beautiful. So then that frequency of that pain is no longer accessible.
Yeah, it's changed.
So it's changed. So as long as we're holding our wounds and holding our pain, we're denying the world around us the experience of a space without that frequency. Because when we move it through with love, like you're talking about, it transmutes into something beautiful. So it's no longer pain, and the world can no longer access it. I mean, we're seeing that in our world right now. We're seeing so much where this, it started with like, oh, let's like close down. And then the next frequency of things for me in my life, it was the awareness of Black Lives Matter. And then the next frequency of big thing has been, the trafficking, the child trafficking. And what I understand is I couldn't go right to the frequency of openly dealing with child trafficking if we hadn't have started first with the closing down and being within. And for me, then it's the frequencies of things that now can openly be seen and transmuted so they can be taken off this planet. Right. Yeah. And that's happening. We're seeing it happening. So it's just so lovely. Like when you're willing to flow that river through you and flow that light through you and transmute your wounds and your beliefs, that it really changes how the world sees the world, not just you.
Yeah. It changes how you see and how you experience everything, because you'll come from a seed of love.
Yeah.
Instead of, a seed of reaction or a seed of whatever it was before. You come from that seed of love, and therefore you'll see love in every situation. So many people, like you brought up the Black Lives Matter and the child trafficking, like so many people seeing it with anger and fear and judgment and stuff. And then there's people seeing it that, there's stuff out there and there's people reacting as like, I see people are moving through the energy, how they need to move through the energy. Right. So if they're experiencing fear or anger, that's what they need to experience at this time in their life. It's a part of their awareness journey. Right.
Yeah.
And I honor that, it doesn't mean I'm doing it, but I honor it. Right. And so it allows for more awareness when you're flowing those energies through you and not hanging on to them. Right. I remember the first time a mentor showed me this. It was interesting. It was about money. And he said, money is energy. Right. And he said that if you think you can hang on to it really, really, really tight, and you won't let it flow, because money has to flow. That's why it's called cash flow. Right. It has to flow. Right. It's energy. And he said, you hang on to it really, really tight and you got a really good grip like this. And you think that, if you hang on to it like this, that it won't flow. Right. You can keep it all or whatever you think. He said, next thing you know, you blow a tire. Next thing you know, you need a house repair. Next thing you know, right, your kid loses his jacket at school and you got to go buy a new one, right? So like he goes, it will flow. You cannot stop energy. It will flow. You can fight it, right, and make your life miserable, or you can just flow with it, right? Yeah. So it will flow. And so now I got that song, Let It Grow, Let It Grow. But it's energy flows. We cannot stop it. And we can make our life miserable, or we can go with it with peace, love, and joy and flow with it and just have this beautiful experience. So it's the best thing ever. In 2020 is the King Daddy and the King Mama of them all for moving energy for people. I know I've been feeling it myself and in others. And it's helping us dump all those old patterns, those old attachments, and replacing it with love, that awareness of love within us. And the big thing is that setting of intention that's what we want, right? That's what we want is that love. And I think we all want love, right? We may have a distorted view of what love is, but that's getting cleaned up to 2020. Go 2020!
Power number. It's just strong. It's just so strong. I totally agree. And I love how these conversations flow with us. Like we're like, oh, we're going to start with this. And I just love the places that we get. And I really enjoy what you're saying for people to understand is that go with it. And I also, just invite people to notice where they've set their anchor points. Notice where you're anchoring in. Notice, when I'm called to change a behavior or something I'm doing, it's usually because I've spent a little time in a vibration that's more loving than the one I'm in. And then I'm like, oh, I want to go there. And so notice those things that are calling you and spend time with those people that take you there.
And that reminds me, that's one of the things I was going to say too, is get around high vibing people, because that energy will just move you.
It just will. Yeah.
When people make you feel good, those are the people to get around.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And I like this thing of, we've been talking about, you can fight it, but there's something I talk about, which is the bungee cord of life. I always think there's this cord attached to us that's a bit like a bungee, and you're anchored to someplace in some like block of frequencies. So that cord will allow you to move anywhere in those frequencies, up, down, around, sideways, but it will allow you to stretch into new frequencies. So when you are called to go be around people that like make you feel really good beyond what you typically already do, it's pulling you into a different frequency. And then what happens is you pick up that anchor and you move. And you're a little closer to that. You're a little closer to that light, that joy, that love, that peace. And then I find for myself, and I actually found this over the last couple of weeks, because I set an intention to consciously move my anchor out of a belief system that was holding Sydney and I in some really big turmoil. And so what I did is, I know I moved my anchor. I like consciously said, I'm putting it over here. But my bungee cord allowed me to keep stretching into what I'd already known. And what I did, because I like to obviously push the envelope of things, I just kept stretching back into behaviors that weren't serving me. I knew they weren't serving me, but I kept pulling and pulling and pulling. But then that cord so beautifully pulled me back into where I'm anchored. And right now I'm anchored into this. I'm anchored into this love, this joy. And this is something I want people to understand, is that when you re-anchor where that block of frequencies are that you're in, you're not going to be able to go back and fully stay ever in the frequencies that you used to be in. You're going to be able to go play there, but eventually you're going to get pulled back to your anchor. So keep being around people that make you feel beautiful, love, light, joy, peace, and know that you're just moving there. And you might go play in some of the other stuff you used to do. I do it. And now I do it. And as I pull back, I realize, oh, it was important because I hadn't fully cleared up that stuff yet.
Yeah.
Right. So come be with us every Tuesday, right?
That's what I was going to say, is we got two people right here. Well, however I do the camera. Two people right here every Tuesday morning for you at 9:30 Mountain Time. Yeah. And sometimes we bring on guests too. And always, this is what this whole thing is about, is these conscious conversations, is to raise our vibrations. And by our vibrations, we mean the world, whoever shows up, whoever wants to. So with that being said, we're at the top of the hour. So
we're like over our hour always.
We're always over. So we got to shut this down and be back next Tuesday. And do you have any closing comments you want to say, Loree?
Let's see. I want to invite everybody to know, for one breath, that you are perfectly, beautifully qualified to be you. For one breath, know that you are fully loved. And for one breath, know that all of your love shines for everybody.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. I was going to say to deep breathe. Take a big, deep breath in. And know you're exactly where you need to be, experiencing exactly what you need to be. And you're magnificent.
Yeah.
Right online, both of us.
Beautiful.
I love you, Loree.
I love you too. Love you too.
All right. So we will leave you now and see you next Tuesday. And you have a great week, okay? Bye.